All right, I'm going to attempt to make the world's most boring lecture into something that's really, really interesting. Let's talk about cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone. So, how can we make this exciting? Well, here's the reason that you may be able to not lose weight at all. Like when you get to a certain age, especially when men and women get to the age of 40, 45, 50, 55, it gets really hard to lose weight, a lot harder than it was before. And here's one of the many reasons, and there's a lot of reasons within this. So, you ready? Let's make this interesting. So cortisol is a hormone, steroid hormone. Doesn't really matter. But what cortisol does, it's in charge of your fight or flight reflex. So let's take a car accident or an almost car accident in this example. So you're sitting at a red light and a cement truck is running that red light and it's whatever. It's coming into you, right? You're in this emergency situation. Within milliseconds, this is why I find this really amazing. Within milliseconds, your body will increase cortisol. And cortisol's job is to mobilize fuel. It does a lot of things, but it mobilizes fuel, so it increases sugar, wherever sugar it has in the body, right? You're not eating it right now, but you have sugar coming, the sugar that's in your bloodstream and that is stored in your body. It will mobilize that fast, shove it into the bloodstream so your body can use it to react, to do certain actions. Because sugar, when sugar is broken down, we call it sugar. It's really molecule of glucose. Sugar is a different form, but glucose, when it goes through all these crazy long steps, it will yield ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. I'm gonna make this interesting, I promise. Okay, here's how this is exciting. When ATP blows up in your body, it becomes ADP, adenosine diphosphate. It phosphorylates, gives off a P, a phosphorus molecule. That's the bomb in your body. That's energy right there, right? And then it rephosphorylates and becomes ADP. Well, okay, you want me to go a little more uninteresting? There's a fly bugging me. It'll become AMP, adenosine monophosphate, and that will rephosphorylate and become ATP. It regenerates. Okay, so super cool. Here's the other problem too. That's not really a problem. That's good if sugar is mobilized. So good thing, not bad. It will also start eating away at your muscle. In that millisecond, no. But when you're stressed for days, weeks, months, a year, because there's relationship, marital stuff, there's financial stuff, whatever is going on in your life, in our minds, we're stressed. And if we're stressed for a long enough period of time, it will start breaking down muscle tissue. It will also break down fat, but hold on, I'll get back to that because that's not always a good thing. It's a fly. It will break down muscle to turn that into a molecule of glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis. Okay, just said that to impress you. I can remember that from college. But fat as well, same thing, gluconeogenesis. It turns it into a molecule of glucose. Well, not a good thing because we're losing muscle tissue. Losing muscle. And if we're losing fat, okay, good thing. Well, yeah, sort of. But it also decreases the peripheral fat, which is the fat that's around your body, and it will increase your visceral fat. So all this makes sense because over a long period of time, stressed, we want to protect those organs because there's a war going on or that concrete truck keeps coming at us, whatever. Over a long period of time, we're going to protect the inner organs with a fattier layer around there to protect it. That's all it is, a protective mechanism. So there are people that will come to me and they'll say, I'm like this skinny fat, right? I'm skinny fat. So they're lean looking with clothes on. They look like, what do you need to do? You don't need to lose weight. You look great. But they have very little muscle. And the fat that's on their body, we don't have a whole ton of it. But I guarantee there's a lot more inside the body. So when they do a body fat test, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a lot more hiding in that body. This is what's going on, is their cortisol is probably chronically elevated over a long period of time. It also, increasing cortisol also increases your appetite. So short term, good thing, getting fuel to replace this sugar, or, well, you could say fat too and muscle. So but we're eating to replace those stores. So we get hungrier all the time. Now, when you're stressed, what do you eat? Probably not going to go pick the healthiest choice at the grocery store. When you're stressed, you don't have time. When you're stressed, you're not in a good mood. When you're stressed, you want to just go buy whatever makes you feel better in the moment. So we're going to go buy fast food. So that increase in appetite is not necessarily good. There's another thing that happens that this is called, it decreases this thing called secretory IgA. All right. So the decrease of that decreases the mucus in the lining of your gut, which is your small intestine. And in the lining of your gut, if this nice fluid mucous membrane is there, kind of disgusting, right? But it's what's in there. It's nice and juicy. If that's good, we have what are called tight junctions in between the blocks or the walls of your small intestine. So the wall of your small intestine is literally like these blocks. And this gap in between is called a tight junction. That is the scientific word, which generally scientific anatomy words come from Latin or Greek, roots, prefixes, suffixes, right? But this one doesn't. This is just tight junctions. But when you have an untight junction, because this mucous membrane isn't doing so well, food can get through there. Food's not supposed to get through there. Now, let's take an example as you're eating chicken. Chicken is supposed to go in your mouth, down into your stomach, be digested in your small intestine. And if a piece of chicken, it's not broken down into its little parts, protein goes here, this mineral goes here, all these things go to different places. And those nutrients are allowed to go through here, but not the whole piece of chicken. I'm not like a big piece of chicken, just a small one. That piece of chicken looks an awful lot like other organs in our body. So the other thing that happens is that your immune system, it gets a little bolstered it gets a little, during times, it'll go up a little bit, but it also goes down. But when your immune system has a little bit of an increase, it will go through and pick up that piece of chicken and it'll say, that looks like the other organs in your body, but this is a foreign invader, so we're going to build antibodies around that. So that's the part of the immune system that goes up. We increase our antibodies around this thing, this chicken that came through. And if the chicken looks like that, then so do the other organs in your body. And this is what causes autoimmune diseases. So a big catch-all phrase that means that your body is breaking down or eating itself. That's what it means. So your body's doing the wrong thing because your gut isn't healthy. Whole nother video, another time, about gut health and how we increase this or improve this, because there's a lot to that. But just know when your gut lining is not healthy, the mucous membranes, when you're stressed and you have cortisol that's elevated, we don't have a good gut membrane, food's going to get through there and you're going to end up having autoimmune diseases. Or there's the increased risk of that. So not good. The other thing that increased cortisol does is it breaks down bone tissue. I don't need to go any further with that. That's a bad thing. So osteoporosis and osteopenia in people, men, but women more so as they age, is a really bad and dangerous thing. You hear the stories of grandma broke her hip. It's like, how? Well, she bumped into that chair. Like, what? I'm 55 and I still go, what? So we want to do the right things to make sure that our bone mass density is strong. And you can get that tested and make sure that your bone mass density, so that the strength of your bone is still strong all the way throughout your life. Here's another really interesting thing that I think that happens, is that when our cortisol is elevated all the time, it will decrease your frontal lobe, your brain, frontal lobe activity. So it'll decrease that part of your brain. That's the part of your brain that deals with your personality. Yeah, when people are stressed, they're not a lot of fun to be around. When someone's really calm and chill, they're a lot more fun to hang around with, right? I mean, so our personalities takes a hit with that. Memory. Your concentration. I'm going to hyphenate or shorten the word so I can go a little more quickly. Increase in depression. Yeah, crazy. It also damages the hippocampus in your brain, which the job of the hippocampus is to take short-term memories and to make them into long-term memories. So, and this is the first stage of Alzheimer's and dementia, right here. So short-term memories, like I can remember what here's the problem. Like if you can't remember what you had for lunch, but you can remember what your daughter's graduation or whatever, you can remember something a long time ago. But if we have a decrease in this hippocampus, your short-term memories are not being turned into long-term memories. And so you all of a sudden forget the short-term things of what you did yesterday, where you were, but you can remember something that happened a year ago. You aren't creating long-term memories when your cortisol is high all the time. The other thing it does is it decreases, is that in the way? Move this, just write it here. Decreases your pituitary gland. So really important, The pituitary gland is like the maestro or the orchestra director that's saying, okay, the thyroid needs to make more of this hormone, send it here. This organ, your adrenals need to make more or less. So it orchestrates the whole hormonal thing. And that's a lot of the problem when we look at losing weight, being healthy long term, is because our cortisol is high long term. Now, how do we reduce this? Well, okay. Actually, you can write in the comments how you reduce stress. This is a challenging thing for most of us to do. Here's the problem. You have a molecule of hormone called DHEA. Long word. Its job is a precursor to testosterone. Important for men and women. I want to say more so for men, but men have more testosterone in our body. So that makes men manly, right? The testosterone, but women need it too. Very important. And DHEA also is a precursor to progesterone. So really important hormone the last 10 days or so, 10, 11 days of your monthly cycle. Even if you've had a hysterectomy, you're postmenopausal, doesn't matter. You still have progesterone being made, not by the ovaries anymore, but by the adrenal glands. And that pituitary gland is orchestrating all that happening. And if your progesterone isn't high, you have a lot of problems, and it's hard to lose weight when your progesterone doesn't get as elevated as it needs to at the end of the month. Okay, here's the kicker with this. DHEA can also, if you have stress coming in, it doesn't have a chance to, it will become cortisol. So, stressed. You make cortisol. There's no car accident about to happen, but I'm sitting here just stressed. And I've got a lot of cortisol raised in my body, and all these negative things are happening. It can lead to autoimmune disorders. It can lead to putting on weight because our appetite's up. We're breaking down muscle. We're breaking down bones. So many negative things happen with this word stress. That's a whole other video for a whole nother time. Really, that's the one that I'm not very good at because I feel stressed all the time. All the time. And by the way, we don't sleep as well either. So understand this, that elevated stress over a long period of time, and I heard this being said by, and I don't remember who, it was a practitioner that I admire, and I don't remember, I wish I do, wish I could go back to find this, but they said, if you are chronically stressed and your cortisol is chronically elevated, it is impossible to lose fat. Now, we said that fat will be mobilized, but also in the different areas of your body. It's almost impossible to lose fat. That was their words. And I absolutely agree with that. So reducing our stress, especially women, men all the time, women all the time too, but women especially in the last 10 days of your cycle, whether you are postmenopausal or not, to be the last 10 days of what are still your cycle, you just don't express it the same anymore, to reduce that stress. Well, it's probably best to start reducing the stress now. How do we do that? Another video for another time. I'm going to have to work on that a little bit more. But if you have ideas on how to reduce stress, put in the comments below what you do to reduce stress. Hope this helps. Talk to you soon. Have a great day.